Now we're heading into the equity position chart, and this has just got two really key lines on it. The first one is our equity position in our portfolio and how that sort of projects out on a 30-year basis. And this is backed by all these different types of assumptions that we have about the market in our portfolio long term. So as a base, we use a 5% growth rate rather than something crazy like 6.8%. I mean, that's the national average over the last 25 years, but obviously, we can't predict the future, and we want to be really conservative here of where our equity position is long term. So you can play around with these numbers. You can dial that up to 7% if you want to. You can turn it back down to 3%, see what those worst case scenarios is, and really identify how your portfolio will go in those sort of circumstances. And then the second line here is our offset debt. So this is obviously going to be increasing as we're going through the accumulation stage of our portfolio when we're buying these properties. Shows us where we sort of peak in terms of total debt amount, and then gives us a picture of when we'll potentially be able to pay that debt down using an offset account. So purple line here is our equity position, current equity in our portfolio. That grows. As you can see, we're actually making some purchases over these years, and you probably would have seen it in some previous videos as well. So making those purchases along the way, our equity position's increasing into the future. And when we got it starting to get to 2030 and beyond, that's really when you see the compound effect grow, right? And that compound effect can be easily represented with a simple calculation. If you just start with 1 and times it by 2, and then times that by 2, and then times that by 2, and then times that by 2, you can see how quickly this compound effect increases, right? It's not that properties increase in value every year or double in value every year, but you can really see that compound effects start to have a bit of a play long term, and what you might expect in terms of equity position in your portfolio long term. Second to that is the offset account. So again, as I said before, those offset account debts will be increasing as we're going through the accumulation stage of our portfolio. We sort of reach peak debt here once we've finished that final purchase, and then from there we slowly start to pay off our debt, or increase the amount in our savings account, I should say, rather than pay off debt. Increase the amount in our offset account that essentially reduces the debt that we're paying. So this ends up getting paid down completely at this point in time. We can sort of see how that projects out, and that's calculated based on a number of figures. The amount that you're entering as savings per month, then we contribute that to a year, and then how much we're saving in a year, and then putting that towards our offset account, and then slowly how much we're paying our offset account down over these times. Also taking considerations to things like, as I showed you before, holiday spends, car spends, other big spends like weddings or anything like that might come up, education, anything we can really sort of identify here as a major cost in that year. We also reduce that and see what might be in the savings account at that point in time. So really gives you a clear picture of where you're going long term, and then outside of that, how much our debt's going to be paid off over time as well.